It's difficult anytime we lose someone in our community, especially close to the holidays. It's hard on everyone. It's hard on the team. It's hard on our community. I'm sure it's hard on the Abadi families. I can't imagine being in their position.
This is a big story in a rural part of Arizona. A Southern California farming tycoon, a multimillionaire. He owns millions of dollars worth of farmland in the Imperial Valley, is now sitting in a jail cell accused of shooting and killing his estranged wife in Pine Top.
Today, the Navajo County Sheriff's Office sharing more details on how they arrested 63-year-old Michael Abadi. 12 News journalist Sean Rice traveled to Holbrook today. That's 3 hours northeast of the valley to speak with investigators. Sean, what did you learn?
Yeah, Tram and Troy, good evening to you both. This case here in northeastern Arizona really was a murder mystery for over a month. The wife of a Southern California millionaire farmer is found shot to death inside her Pine Top home. Really, this is a woman, by all accounts, really kept to herself in the Pine Top area and was incredibly well-liked, someone that no Pine Top local would ever want to harm. Well, now the Navajo County Sheriff's Office says they have enough evidence to prove that her husband, Michael Abadi, is the person who allegedly killed her with premeditation, meaning he thought about it for the hours, days, months, or even years, and allegedly did it anyway.
We had a terrible homicide that occurred in our county. There's a family that's been affected by this.
Navajo County Sheriff David Klaus.
When we speak of the victim, we'll speak in reverence, we'll speak of respect for them.
Speaking for an entire community mourning the loss of Carrie Ann Abadi. Just before Christmas, a Navajo County grand jury indicted 63-year-old Michael Abadi, an influential Southern California farmer, on a first-degree murder charge in her death.
We had strong reason to believe that Mr. Abadi had traveled from El Centro, California, on November 20th to Pine Top, Arizona, committed the homicide, and traveled back to California early that morning of the 21st.
This sprawling 13-acre property in Pine Top became a crime scene for 4 straight days on the night of November 20th. Deputies and investigators combing the grounds for evidence. The investigation led them to Michael's home in El Centro, where they executed multiple search warrants. The key question surrounding this domestic violence homicide is motive. Detectives interviewing Carrie's close friends and family members, and one fact kept coming up.
She was living alone, and she had left her husband and was living in Pine Top, and was working through a divorce that had been dragging on for a couple of years. Was the glaring things that were poking out.
A contentious and drawn-out divorce spanning well over 2 years. Most recently, a request for more alimony money granted by a California judge to Carrie. The law enforcement team helping to solve her case, calling the arrest of her husband bittersweet. It's one that will bring a sense of closure to her friends and family members while remaining a senseless domestic violence murder.
A lot of people put themselves in a position that they live a high-risk lifestyle, and I don't believe Miss Abadi was one of those people. I'm sure it's hard on the Abadi families. I can't imagine being in their position.
And tonight, Michael Abadi sits inside an Imperial County jail cell that's just outside of San Diego. Now, according to court records, Michael has already waived his right to contest his extradition. That means in the coming days, Navajo County Sheriff's deputies and investigators will travel by car or van to Southern California. They will pick Michael up and they will bring him right here to Holbrook, Arizona to face a judge for the very first time on that murder charge. Now, for the last month, we've tried to reach out to Carrie Ann Abadi's close friends and family members to try to get to know her, request pictures, anything like that. Each person has told us to request their privacy as they mourn her loss. We're live in Holbrook. Sean Rice, 12 News.
Yeah, and Sean, I know they weren't talking much about motive in that news conference today, but you would think if they've been married for 30 years and had built this multi-million-dollar business, I mean, this divorce could have ended up costing the husband, tens of millions of dollars, possibly.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. And one question I asked the Navajo County sheriffs and some of their deputy chiefs who were there is, Was there any evidence to this point that Michael himself was in any sort of financial strain? Because over the last several decades, he's only been known as a millionaire farm owner in Southern California. Is there anything to this point that he could be in financial stress? They wouldn't answer that question. They wouldn't go into any sort of evidentiary detail as to how they connected him to this homicide either. That's something we certainly expect to learn in a potential trial here in northeastern Arizona. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Sean, thank you.